let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you did do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a world-renowned self-help psychic medium, trance speaker, healer, and teacher. She's also demonstrated some trance speaking at Arthur Findlay. Please welcome Tabitha Stitt. Tabitha, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is surreal. It's exciting, all the feelings, and I love it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for being here as well. And I forgot to mention, you're also a podcast host too.
I am, yes, the Self-Help Psychic Podcast, yes.
Oh my gosh, I love it. We'll have to get into that a little bit later. I find it, I've had a couple psychics on the show now, and you guys are all actually very different, but you all very skilled, very talented, very gifted, and I really enjoy these conversations because it kind of takes away those labels around what a psychic is, because I think there are people that think that they're bad and it's evil, and, it goes against this, that, and the other thing. And I've been enlightened in these conversations. And I also know that you come from your grandmother was also kind of a psychic, right? So can you tell us a little bit about your journey tapping into this talent or gift that you have?
Yes, absolutely. So it came unexpected. I didn't really know about my grandma's gift. And now that I'm getting older, I'm seeing it more and more. And she would mention that her grandma would read cards, but they were never allowed to talk about it. You don't discuss it. So it was all secret because of that reason, because you were thought of as it was evil, or, so all these bad connotations that go along with it. So it really, for me, it started off like I was a high school teacher for 7 years, but then there was like this calling within me to become a Reiki practitioner, which is energy healing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about it. So I was in Barnes and Noble and I saw this magazine. And I'm like, what is this magazine? I didn't even know how to pronounce it. It said Reiki. And I was like, what's Reiki? And yeah, exactly. Like everyone, we all pronounce it incorrectly. Then I just felt this calling, like I need to investigate. I need to see what this is all about. So in the back of the magazine, it talked about going out to Arizona to become a practitioner. And sometimes you just feel these callings, right? You just feel guided, you feel drawn, there's a push, it's like subtle. So I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to go out there and check it out. So I went out to Arizona, and the very first time that I ever gave Reiki to a classmate at the time, I experienced clairvoyance. I didn't even know that I was experiencing clairvoyance. I was like, they were like, okay, what did you experience? And I said, well, I saw this Native American man and he kept saying, thank you to me. Thank you. Because I was helping that person heal. So ever since then, they all just looked at me like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. So ever since then, every time I would give someone Reiki, a client, I would experience clairvoyance, and I didn't know what to do with it. Right. So I'm getting these visions in my mind, and I'm conveying these messages. But then they kind of look at me like, okay, now what? And then I got a reading from another psychic medium because, it is liberating. You get so many messages and they're eye-opening. And from there, she told me, hey, you're supposed to be doing this work. I just lit up from the inside out. I'm like, oh, you could just feel it in your core. It's as if she was like just telling me, like my soul was talking to me through her and saying, this is what you're meant to be doing. And so from there,
did that scare you at all? Did that scare you?
It did. It actually did, because it was pressure. She was like, you're going to be doing this full time within 2 years. And it took a lot longer than that. I started probably 13 years ago. And, it takes a long time to really step into your purpose, or what you feel gives you that purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was terrifying, because she was like, but don't worry, you're already doing it. You don't even know that you're doing it. And so I learned from other psychic mediums, and they really helped get it out, So it's just like anything that you feel is your purpose or your calling, is you just practice.
Yeah.
And the more that you practice, the more that you feel at ease about it. And then pretty soon it's just like clockwork, you're just doing it and it's feeling more and more natural. But the nerves still pop up, they still pop up occasionally because we're humans and that's what we have to
I still get nervous doing this show.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Like, am I going to be interrupted? Am I going to answer the question? It's just all these different things that come into your mind. So that's how it all got started for me. And, 13, 14 years later, here we are.
Wow. Holy cow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe it's been that long. So
do you think there's a lot of people like yourself out there in the world that probably have this gift and they don't tap into it and take the responsibility that they have to help others?
Oh, I love that. Yes, I do. And I actually get a lot of clients that come to me and they ask me, like, I know that I'm intuitive, I just don't know what to do with it. Or, I feel like someone's in the room with me when I'm home alone, and how do I access that information? And I love that I think you said responsibility, because, it is, because it's like, if you don't do anything with it, it's like you're holding in this gift, right? You're holding in this gift to yourself. So that's interesting that you asked that, because I'm actually looking into teaching others how to tap into that, because I've been giving readings, but I'm like, I need to step up now as a role. Like, I was a teacher in the classroom for my high school students, but now I'm like, I need to be more of like a global teacher, which I teach courses, but they're going to be a different kind, because there's so many of us that know that we have something. We just don't. It's like we don't even know how to verbalize it. We don't even know what it is or how we start. So then once you feel into that, at least what I did, I just was like, okay, you kind of just trust it.
Yeah.
And then you seek out that support or that advice, or how can we connect and how can I draw this out within me? So yeah, there's lots of people certainly that I feel, and yeah, it's interesting, because I do feel that that's my next step, certainly.
I love that.
Yeah, it is a gift, and we all have gifts, no matter what it is that you're doing, for sure. Like, whatever you feel you're meant to do, that is your gift. And if you hold it within, you really are keeping it from others, even though it's terrifying at the same time. It's like I think dichotomy would be the right word. Like, it's like a conundrum. It's like, that you're supposed to do it, but it's terrifying and it holds you back at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to break through the fear, even though it's scary as hell, and follow that calling, whatever that is.
Absolutely. It's like finding your purpose. And like I said, I've talked to a couple of psychics so far, and all very different. You consider yourself a self-help psychic, which I love. The other one, and I think all of you have this gift, but the other one, she's like, I'm more of an intuitive. I don't really tell people what to do, but I help them tap into what they like, their intuition, which I thought was awesome, because I think we all are intuitive, but some of us are so blocked by this idea of what we're supposed to be, hence, let's live label free. Let's not be boxed in. Let's step out of that. Let's be uncomfortable and figure out, if we had more people walking around living their purpose, we'd be in a much better, happier world. I mean, so many people are like shells of human beings, and they just are afraid. And like, the fear is like a false feeling. Once you like face your fear, like, the things you can accomplish are limitless.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. There's this book that I read a long time ago is Face Your Fear. No, what was it? Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And do it anyway. And I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but that book really changed me, because she brought to this realization that you think you're the only one feeling the uncomfortable feelings. And really, when you recognize that this is just a common feeling or normal feeling that everyone experiences it, you don't feel so alone. And you recognize, like, oh, okay, I can do this as well. And what you just said was like just fantastic, because that's essentially what we're all looking for. We're all just trying to figure out who we are, just self-discovery. How can I step more into who I am? And so when I was a high school teacher, I taught personal development.
Okay.
And so that's where it just naturally flowed together as far as a self-help psychic. So mediumship is when you're tapping into someone's loved one, you're connecting with your loved one. And then the psychic aspect of that is similar, but you're tapping into the client that you're working with.
Yeah.
And you can go deeper into that. You can do it more intuitively, psychically, trance. You can also go into a trance where you're going really, really deep. And then with trance, you're actually you're really speaking to their soul.
Yeah.
So it's less about like the silly thing, and not silly. I mean, they're real tools, but things that, if we could just get past them, like these things that we think that are barriers, and really, it's just like getting past them and then speaking to the soul is really what it's all about. And you can feel it, you can feel that connection. So yes, that's how I work. And I didn't really ask to work that way. I call it spirit. When I say connecting, you can call it God, consciousness, your higher self, whatever you'd like to call it. But I just noticed the more that I worked with clients, the more that I found out that I was helping them with their life. Okay. So rather than bringing through loved ones, and they still come through because they're like, hey, I need to talk to this person. Yeah. So that still happens. And it makes me nervous because there's a lot more pressure, but I do trust the process. I'm like, okay, because I let myself go. I'm like, I'm just the channel. I'm the conduit. I'm the medium. And I just allow myself to be, passive as best as I can, and then let that information come through. Half the time, I don't remember what the hell I said. But which is a good thing. It tells you you're really into. You're like, God, I don't even remember what we talked about. But I noticed, like, after I listened to them, after the sessions, I, because it's good to go back and be like, oh, okay, that was good, or I could work better there.
Right.
It was all like self-help, self-development. And that is just as healing
Absolutely.
as receiving a mediumship reading, because we all need guidance. We all need connection. And it doesn't mean that you can't do it by yourself, of course, but, it's helpful to hear what you already know. Like, you already know something in your heart and soul, and someone else says it to you that that they would have no clue that that's how you're feeling. That's confirmation for you that, okay, look, you're being you're being guided. This person, me as a conduit, I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
90% of my clients, they come in, fresh and so it's just, you're being guided, and it's all healing essentially at the end of the day.
I can imagine. So in a session, can you do all three? Because I kind of want to break that down: intuitive, mediumship, and trance. Do you ever like hit all three of those within a reading with someone?
Yes, actually, yeah, I do. So intuitive, psychic, that's really like my main thing. Mediumship, if someone asks me to bring through a loved one, then I will set that intention and I will connect with that person as I can. And then I've noticed that the trance kind of happens naturally. And I didn't realize I was doing this until I spoke with a mentor at Arthur Finley. And he stated to me, he was like, you are doing trance. And I'm like, I am. I always just thought I was connecting psychically.
Yeah.
But you're going so much deeper. And the difference is like we all work differently, right? No matter what our profession is. But what I do is I always close my eyes. And that's because like when I'm looking at someone's eyes, I get distracted personally with my own mind. So I'm like, I'm going to go deeper and allow the information to just flow. Like I said, half the time I open my eyes and I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot where I even was.
Yeah, that's a gift.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. And it's just helpful for me because I connect with my clients, especially at the very beginning and, whatever they want to work on or whatever the questions are. And then I explain how I work and I go deeper. But yes, to answer your question, I would say that I hit on all of those. The intuitive is like a lighter way of connecting.
Sure.
The mediumship is more about bringing through the loved one. And then the trance is like when you're going in really, really deep and you forget what even happens. So
I have several questions. So what does someone typically come to you for? I love that you're branded as a self-help, a psychic. I think that's great because it kind of takes away some of the fear around, going to see a psychic, like, oh, okay, well, this is going to help me. So when your people find you, right, because they're going to come to you because of what you offer, what is their usual question or their ask that they're looking for?
Yes, I love that question. So most of my clients will just say, hey, just keep it open-ended. Whatever spirit wants to tell me, whatever my soul wants to tell me, I'm open to it, which is really fascinating because then you really don't know what's going to come out. But it's always empowering. It's never scary. I think that's what a lot of people are concerned about because they're like, I've never done this before. I get so many clients that have never done this before, but I do feel like with being a Reiki practitioner, I set the stage and send the healing and so that helps as well. But those that do have questions, I would say a lot of them have to do with moving forward and they're feeling stuck. They don't know why necessarily, or they have an idea and maybe they just need, again, that confirmation. Or there's also questions about relationships that comes up a lot. So either they're, again, feeling stuck in their relationship or they've been with the same person for a very long time and they don't know what to do, or they've been in a situation for a very long time and they don't know what to do. And yeah, I would say those are the two main things, like feeling like they just need to move forward. But a lot of it comes down to, their purpose and what they need to learn in that moment. Because if they start to listen to what's in their heart more, then they'll find that they are moving forward. Or they'll recognize, like, if I start to listen to what's really in my heart, I know that this person that I'm with isn't the best for me. Or, and again, I'm not personally telling them that. It's just the information that's coming through.
Yeah.
So those are the main topics, but, it's really kind of all over the place. I have mothers that come in and say, I've lost a child, and those are really, really hard. Yes. And that's why it makes me a little nervous because there's a lot of pressure, but again, I'm just the conduit. So I'm like, okay. And I do ask, I always set the intention from the very beginning of my work. I say, bring to me those that I can be of service to, that I can help, and then just allow that information to flow.
Yeah.
But it's kind of all over the place, but I think we're all just looking, I don't know if validation would be the right word, but because sometimes I'm like, maybe reassurance or, again, confirmation.
Right.
But yeah, I'm always hesitant to use the word validation because I feel like we can give ourselves that as well,
I think it's guidance. When I think about perhaps going to a psychic, for me, it would be for guidance. Like, okay, I have all these things popping up and I'm just a little confused. So I've always mentioned this to my previous psychics that I've had on. Like, I see repeating numbers all the time. I've never seen that before until the last maybe like year and a half, where it's just nonstop. And there's something a message is trying to come through to me, and I don't know what it is. And I try to stay open. So I always like to ask, like, so someone like me that's seeing that, or that is like being like aware of this pattern that continues to pop up, what would you tell them?
I love that. So I would say, because that actually happens to me as well, and I do see that as a common thing also. To me, it's, you can come up with the meaning yourself. So like, for example, 222. I see that all the time. It makes me think of my grandma who's passed on. She had a story like 222. So I always relate that to, don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle. So I think that you can create your own meaning to it. So or you can look it up if you just are starting off fresh and you're like, hey, give me some meanings. But then whatever resonates with you, or like 333 could be like, okay, my spirit guides are with me. 111 would be like, be conscious of what you're thinking. Is it helping you or hindering you?
Yeah.
So those are just examples, but I feel like it's fun to make up your own meaning.
Sure.
For it. So then every time you see that, you'll be like, okay, that's what that means.
Yeah.
And you can change the meaning,
Absolutely.
Not stuck in stone. But I do feel like when we see those numbers, or when we see those messages, or when we see those specific animals, like when I see an eagle, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like, when I see an eagle, I'm on the right path. Okay, this is, I'm going the right direction, and so there's all these different kinds of messages that come to you. But I feel like that's your, again, you can call it God, your guide, your angels. That's the spiritual world that's guiding you and helping you and trying to reassure you and saying like, hey, either you're not alone, or I'm listening, I'm here with you. And it really comes down to recognizing like, okay, so a lot of times we can feel alone, with our eyeballs, we can only see so many physical things that are in front of us. But once you start to trust more, which is,
Hard,
not
difficult.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially with, things that have happened in the past or trauma or whatever it is, like things do become a little easier. And those little signs that show up, it's reassurance that you're on the right path to me. So that's what I mean.
I love that. You mentioned God a couple times now, and I want to highlight that because I think there's the common misconception of psychics is that it's not like godly or it's against the Bible. And I was raised Christian. I still believe in God, but I do think that when I talk to psychics like yourself that mention God, mention angels, it's not that being a psychic is an evil, bad thing. It's more of your connection to that spiritual world, which whatever someone's modality is actually quite beautiful.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that because to me, this work is working through and for God and in all ways for the highest good. And as you were saying that, I was just getting insane chills as confirmation. This work is healing. I do think that in any profession, it doesn't matter. There's people that unfortunately might not have the best intentions. Yeah. And then there are people that have the absolute best intentions in the world. And being a psychic medium, I can say for myself and those that I've worked with and received readings from and my, mentors along the way, this is all healing. We're all here to help each other heal along the way. And it can be challenging, but this work is through that. All of my books that I read, you can call it whatever you want, but it's all this guiding power, this higher force. You can feel the love that's coming through, and it's never scary. And I do feel like, for example, like tarot cards, like they have these images that can be very scary. And I don't know the whole history on that, but to me, that's just symbolism. That's right. Just Spirit works through or talks through symbols. So you can use those as, symbolic, like let's say the tower card pops up and, it's this card where people are falling off the tower and it feels so frantic and scary. Life can be frantic and terrifying and scary. Absolutely. It's not perfect, but that doesn't mean you're doomed to high hell and everything. It just means like, hey, you might be going through something that's really tough, but how can we get through this? And, what support do you have? But to me, it is all healing. It's all through and for, again, God, consciousness, light. I call it light as well.
Beautiful. Tabitha, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and what people can expect if they tune in to listen to you?
Yes, thank you for asking. So, it's called the Self-Help Psychic Podcast. And what I mainly do 90% of the time is I sit and tap in. And I don't even know what the heck I'm going to talk about usually, but it all just flows naturally. I usually have like a topic or I'll ask to be guided along the way, but it's like receiving a reading. Okay. Except for when you receive a reading with me, it'll be obviously very specific and to right. you. But the podcast is more like a universal message and it helps get through whatever it is that you're experiencing. It could be struggles, battles. How can I focus on my soul's purpose? How can I move forward? How can I manifest? How can I just live as a human being the best that I possibly can without losing my mind? But I do provide messages that way. So.
I love that. That was perfect. Well, that's a great segue into how can people book a reading with you, work with you? What does that look like? Where do they go?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So just my first and last name. So Tabitha, Stitt.com. It's TABITHASTITT. It's Tabitha Stitt. That's where you can access all the information. You can book there. You can connect with me if you have any questions. I'm here to help. I personally respond to you. Yeah. And I have the circle as well, which if you don't want to do a one-on-one reading or if you would rather connect with other women, we have the circle online. Cool. And so it's wonderful. It's all just, and that is a little different because we're connecting, receiving messages, but it's a little bit more intimate than say like the podcast.
Awesome. You guys can put those links in the show notes. So if you connect with Tabitha and are interested in talking with her, getting a reading from her, go click that link, go set up a call. And obviously she's very lovely. I think that you'd really enjoy getting a message through her. So go click the link. Tabitha, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Oh, I would say to, as best as you possibly can, just trust in yourself. And if you have a hard time trusting yourself, trust in something outside of you that you feel very, very connected with, and know that you are being guided. And it might feel a little uncomfortable stepping out of your comfort zone, but that's the best way that you are going to step into your soul's purpose.
Beautiful. Yes. All right. Well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your gifts and how you operate as someone that wants to help people for the greater good. Really appreciate you and how you shared your message with us today. I think it was beautiful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I really appreciate this. I'm just, yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you. I'm forever grateful.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with some more dynamic guests.